Welcome to another episode of the Bruja podcast. It has been a while. We've got Vondechii here with us now, our co-host. How are you, girl?
So I've been good. And I feel like the new moon that just passed, it highlights new beginnings. I know like the year is almost over, but I do feel like there is a new beginning. There is a new aura, a new shift in energies around me and within me. And I feel like I'm so excited for that. However, in order for you to really accept greatness, you need to be ready for it. We're both actors. I went to LaGuardia High School, major was drama. You need to prep for the audition. There's like the Stella Adler, Meisner techniques, and it's like there's different, you need to be prepared with different techniques and you need to be ready to accept that role if it's given to you. So I feel like it's a great time to start anew and be ready for greatness. Like, for example, the holidays are coming, there's that cackle in the air. And then, like, also with school, like, the semester's almost over. And it's usually like this time where people are just like, oh, I'm tired. Like, I'm just chill. And like, I'm thinking to myself, no, this is the time to go into overdrive. So, new beginnings, I'm happy about that. However, you need to prep for that. So, that's what makes me anxious in a sense, you know?
I was going to ask, how do you prep for that? Because I've been resting. That's one of the lessons that I've been learning since we had our last episode. I had a health crisis, and so I learned to rest because of
Mm,
that. How do you, Vondechii, prepare yourself?
shit. I feel like when I am nervous, that's how my intuition is telling me that things are going to go the way it's supposed to go because there's so much gravity and so much severity to the situation. Like, I know like the consequences of the situation. And when I'm very passive, if I'm not feeling as anxious or as like excited but nervous and like have butterflies in my stomach, I just feel like it's not something that is worth it, I guess. I'm 28 years old and I'm at a point in my life where you need to give up something good to get something great, meaning there's a lot of opportunities that are coming to me and I'm very happy about that, but I don't want to be complacent. I don't want to be categorized or hindered in a certain box. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to
Mhm.
be limited. And I feel like it's it's great, but again, there's a lot of things, a lot of responsibilities, a lot of things I have to do, there's a lot of things I have to prep for, there's a lot of things that one may think or deem, oh, you need a team for this. No, I am doing it. So it's at this point, it's what's exciting, not only for my customers, but how to take it to the next level. How do I know if it's next level? If I have the butterflies in my stomach, if I have the feeling of, oh my God, like, I don't know if this is, if I'm good enough, let's say. Because there's a saying that goes, you should always be the most dumbest person in the room, meaning you should not surround yourself with people that are constantly or only saying, oh, wow, like, this is incredible, this is spectacular, this is amazing. You should be surrounding yourself with people like, okay, this is good, but this is what you need to work on. Or you did amazing with the foundations or fundamentals of this, but you need to work on the details. Or you need to work on marketing this or pitching this to the right people, for example, because it's a step within itself just to get your pitch right. It is a whole different ball
Yeah.
game to figure out who to pitch to. There's a difference between being trained and having technique and having just a je ne sais quoi, X factor. Those are two different things.
Yes.
And if you have a technique, you're complacent and you don't want to venture out into different like ways of bettering your technique. You know what I'm saying? Because you found your comfortability, like you found, not to say that you're complacent, but you found your little nook or your little cranny. And if you only have that je ne sais quoi, that originality, it's so easy for someone to take your idea like this. It is so easy for someone to look at you and see your mannerisms and the way you enunciate, the way you project, the way you articulate, and like, you know what I'm saying? It's so easy for someone to mimic that or mirror that. However,
Mhm.
it's very difficult. I believe it's difficult for someone to execute that all the time with that same energy, with different types of crowd always doing it. And then from there you can see, not to say who's copying who, but who's the original person and who's the
Mhm.
one that's mm, you're a very good mime or,
Yeah.
imitation is the most is flattery, right? Or imitation
Yeah,
is
I
the
think it's the
most
sincerest form of flattery, something like that.
exactly. You know what I'm saying? So I'm working on that. And I
Mhm.
see a lot of people are struggling with that, especially on social media and
Oh,
especially visual
God.
artists, because I consider myself a visual artist as well. And a lot of the time, I feel like, "Oh, I don't want to put a watermark on something because it's going to look like it's going to mess up my picture. It's going to mess up my, ugh." But
I
I
had
have to
that
do
thought.
that.
I had that thought about one of our episodes. Like, I was like, let me experiment with an audio clip because, like, I've been learning that, like, how to market, how to get, but like, I've been doing a lot of the behind the
Got
scenes,
you.
so not posting as much to analyze. And I was like, let me put a video, not a video clip, but like an audio clip, but I don't want to watermark it because it doesn't look professional. And that
It looks
paralyzed me for a while because I was like, but you're not. It's good to plan and it's good to strategize, but you also need to practice the execution. I'm realizing that even in failure, you learn. I'm actually going to turn 28 this year. And so I'm not this year. I'm going to turn 28 this week. This week I'm turning 28. So
uh-huh,
like I've
uh-huh.
been really thinking about those things like what's the next level? What's the next step?
I feel like it ties back to like the whole pitch thing because if you pitch yourself to the right people, you're not going to want to hold anything back. Thus, you're probably not going to. And if anything, it's probably going to come out better than expected because you feel not only that you have to prove something, but it's more authentic. A lot of people now that say, oh, I want to open up a business, or oh, I want to have a corporation or LLC, or oh, I want to have my own platform where I have my own YouTube videos and do this type of video and things of that nature. And I can't help but see certain parallels. However, there is nothing new underneath the sun, and I totally understand that. You can see the time put in regards to the editing, in regards to the sound, in regards to the composition of the
Yeah.
video, and all these certain things. So when you said, "Oh, should I put this watermark or not?" I feel like if it's the right people, you can actually show the original footage because you won't be like, "Oh, this person's gonna take my idea or." Copy the concept, not even have to copy the full idea like down like verbatim to the T, but might
Right.
try to take my concept and mold it into something else. Now, that
Mm.
is totally fine if people do that, but give credit to the original person that concocted it in the first place. But
Yes.
nowadays, I feel like social media has developed into something that is not only, oh, it's fun, but it's exponentially becoming, I don't want to say a way of life, like I guess a lifestyle. Like
The
it's
lifestyle.
really intertwined in our daily habits, in our
Yes.
just living healthy or unhealthy. It's because you can have an intervention that's a social online campaign. Like you can have an online intervention that's good, but also you can,
Mhm.
there's peer pressure. There's so much shit that's online that's just like, people trolling and shit. But no one is going to teach you what you need to learn. There is nobody that can give you the perfect advice for you because you need to go through it. However, you can tell your story to others or your observations and share your observation, your perceptions with other people. So that's why I'm sharing this with you because I feel like I do struggle with, I don't want to watermark this, or oh, I don't want to put this media or this content out right now because it's not the best that I can do. And I feel like if I were to do so, people that aren't necessarily collaborating with me, but are technically doing like have like the same concepts or grasping the same ideas, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
They might jump onto it. But my thing is, what I'm learning is even if they jump onto it, right?
Mhm.
Their product is not going to be the same final product that your product is because you put in the work for editing, you put in the work for graphics, you put in the work for scoring the sound, you put in the work for the design, you put in the work for the costume, the makeup, you put in the work for the marketing, the advertising, you put in the work. You know what I'm saying? So
It's
I
got
feel
that
like
special you factor.
you know what I'm saying? And that goes back
Yeah.
to having the je ne sais quoi, the having that originality versus technique. So basically what I'm trying to say is I'm trying to intertwine both, have a double helix of both. You know what I'm saying?
I
And
agree. I'm in that same trying to figure out how to just blend them nicely.
on
Yeah.
that road, I don't want to say you have to become stingy. I'm not. But there is vital information, imperative information, literally jewels that come out of people's mouths that I feel like I worked hard to listen and understand this information. I worked hard to make this information comprehensible for me, that if somebody asks me, oh, how do you do this or how do you do that? I'm gonna think twice a little bit in regards to giving you the full wholehearted answer as to what my methodology is or what my technique is, because I feel like it took me so much work and time to master my technique, that even though you might, for example, my hex coffins, let's just make something
Which I
generalizable.
love.
Thank you.
I've been looking
Thank
at them.
you.
You make them out of is it
Resin.
resin? That's how you pronounce it, right? Because I was
Hmm.
like slowly starting to learn how to make it. I casted a little dolphin, but I you inspired me to
Thank
want to get
you.
into that.
Fucking
So like
do
I'm
it.
seeing molds and it's like
And that's the
they're so
thing.
pretty.
Because anybody can buy any type of mold. You know what I'm saying? You can get that off of Michael's, off of Amazon. You can get a mold and get resin, epoxy resin, epoxy
Mhm,
resin, and
mhm,
make your own things. However, what distinguishes me from somebody else that's doing hex coffins is the time that I put in. And when I say time that's put in, I'm talking about, and again, jewels are coming out of my mouth right now. Listen up, guys. Mixing
listen.
different tints and colors, because people do resin. What I consider luxury is high quality and being handcrafted. So the molds are, you could buy that off of any place really, but what do you make the product into after it comes out the mold? Many people just have the mold, they put the resin in, boom, that's it. I like to insert sterling silver trinkets and accessories, chains that are made out of sterling silver, healing crystals. I like to put little flowers inside of them already. Like some that are already like, like made and like done, like you could just buy the little flowers. And there's some that I actually, like I cut up my roses that I buy from Whole Foods, and then I put them inside of the resin. And that's even more time because you don't want to have any air bubbles and shit inside of it. And you see a lot of people doing resin, but there's air bubble, not to, talk shit about anybody, but like if you're going to put something out there, don't just put it out there because you want to put it out there because you want attention. Like that's not art. If you're going to put something out there, be worrisome. Like your name, your reputation, you are as good as the last thing you've done. So let's say if you did Titanic and
Oh
then all of a
yeah.
sudden you did like a shitty fucking movie, right? Yeah, you did Titanic, that's great, but the last movie you did was shitty. So you are as good as your last work. Your next job is going to be
And
based off your last work.
unfortunately, people, the attention span of the public is really short. We forget easily. And so, yeah, it's the last thing you've done. Like, we know, no shade to Leo, he's a Scorpio, a lot of
No,
shade,
right.
Scorpios during Scorpio season. But it's just to say that if you can do a big movie, which is great, but like, what was the last thing that you did? Relevancy, although Leo is still relevant, in my opinion.
Right. Of course. And I say like the Titanic because that is something great, because a lot of the times you could just try to be, I don't want to say copying off of somebody, but you could just see something, get inspired by it, and that should come out really fucking dope. All right. How are you going to better yourself? How are you going to continue it? It's easy to get an A, it's hard to maintain an A. So the dope ass story
Yes.
that I was reminded of right now was I was watching Will Smith's YouTube, and apparently he was the one that was supposed to be Neo in Matrix. It was not supposed to be Keanu Reeves. Yo!
Yep.
So I'm like, and I'm watching it, and then he's like, yeah, because I just finished doing Men in Black and Men in Black 2, and I don't want to be labeled as the black guy that's in alien movies and whatever. So I passed on the Matrix, and Keanu Reeves took it, and Keanu Reeves was actually supposed to be, I think, Lawrence Fishburne's role. He was supposed to be the one that's supposed to be.
Morpheus.
No,
Really?
right,
I
Morpheus.
didn't know that. Wow.
It's on his YouTube.
Not
He says it
even
too.
Morpheus.
Uh-huh.
Yes, send it to me.
So I'm just like, that is crazy. That is crazy. Like certain things, like yes, you can do it and you could be bomb at it, but it's not really meant for you. Or if you're going to do something, go full fledged and go hard. But also know when something is not really for you, and that's not you being bougie, or that's not you turning your nose up to something. You know what I'm saying? That's just you knowing
Yes.
what you want, how you want it, who you want it with, and having standards. And again, high quality, high standards. That's what I'm talking about, like Vondechii as well, but incorporating, like different elements of like acting and shit like that. Because again, you're only as good as your last product, what you last produced. So that's why with the Vondechii as well coffins, like I'm really trying to go hard with them. And now I'm painting on them. I'm like actually incorporating visual, like my hand-drawn visual art into 3D artwork. And also I wanted to make it personalized because I feel like this, especially in this podcast, we talk about the different types of witches, and I feel like many people now are beginning to talk about the different types of witches. I'm beginning to peep that, but before they were not. Okay, I'm beginning to peep that too, and I'm happy that everybody's having their awakening. Good job, yeah, woo, woo. But
Yes, representation, it's wonderful.
right. And we want, our crowd to grow. Like, this is not bashing anybody at all whatsoever. This is just not even paying homage, but acknowledging, like, yo, there's, I'm like, okay, you could try to do something, you could be inspired by something, but it wasn't necessarily you that created that original concept or that original idea. If anything, be like, yo, this is what I saw, so and so do, or this is what I heard somebody's, or this conversation, I saw this on Instagram Live or whatever, and now I'm taking it and making it into my own. Not, okay, see somebody doing this, now I'm gonna do this and do the exact same thing like you. Because I started noticing that when I started doing my coffins, other people started doing coffins. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not only gonna sell coffins that, like just like that anymore. I'm gonna actually incorporate it into Vondechii's vault so that everybody, whatever purchase that you make, whether it's a healing crystal, a manifestation pen, or an enamel pen, or a Palo Santo or sage, because those fit in the coffin as well. You will receive one, and the product that you buy will be nestled inside of the coffin. So that again just raises my price up. Like how Beyonce said,
Oh,
like,
you as
oh, I see
well.
that like you trying to copy whatever. Something. I think Beyonce says something to that extent in her song. She's like, so now my price is raising. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm raising the price. And that's what I feel like we need to start doing now, because there's so many people. That's what I love about Instagram. Like, there's so many people that you are not aware of that are thinking just like you. And once they express themselves or find that voice to release their creativity, it's a beautiful, 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 beautiful thing. But as an artist living in New York City, knowing and breathing what competition is, okay,
Yeah.
you gotta keep going better. Like, you can't just be like, I'm just gonna sit here and look cute with these shits and not ever fucking like elevate. No, like, you have to keep them shits pumping, make sure that they're high quality, because best believe people will give reviews on you and be like, this shit was shitty, this shit sucked. So that's why I'm like, I'm not even gonna worry about it too much. Ha. Not even worry about it too much. But I do feel like there are a lot of people doing a lot of things now, and I'm happy that a lot of people are inspired. I wish that more people would say, hey, I got my information from blah, 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 blah. Now, a lot of the times I say information, especially in this podcast, and I don't necessarily have like a reference or a bibliography be like at the end. However, in Vondechii's vault, in my article section, every time I do an article or whatever, there is some type of, reference to something or a website, if not, a citation, an MLA citation or API citation or a Chicago citation. Like, I really do try to incorporate references, just because it's not even paying homage. It's like, maybe, the information changes, because again, it's like, it's pragmatic. It's something that's always changing. It's ever changing.
Right.
It's, so I feel like now is the time that people are not, I guess, waking up, but having that renaissance in a sense. And I feel like with the whole political climate, that just adds additional support to that whole, oh, there's a change coming, or the change is here, but how are we going to execute it? There's many different perspectives that people are taking. And I feel like
Mm-hmm.
at least you're taking a perspective and not just like, having that nihilistic, depressed, heavy burden that we were carrying on our backs, just as American, not even Americans, because there are people here that are immigrants that are here legally and undocumented wise. I didn't want to say illegally, and I say that because my mother came here illegally, undocumented, but
Same.
but
Same. Yeah, but I use
there's a lot of
undocumented.
people that are embracing either some aspect of themselves or their whole selves, and that is great. I feel like we need to start keeping a paper trail of this. We need to start keeping a database of
Mm.
this. We need to start not only having that competition, because I feel like competition is always healthy. However, there is such a thing as healthy competition. That's why I say, not to say that I'm bashing people, and I know that some people will be like, "Oh, stop giving disclaimers, just say it." And I'm like, no, I have to give you disclaimers because I really don't want to come out as a, as a bitch, but also
Yeah.
it's having raw feelings, and sometimes having raw feelings, you have to have that disclaimer. And I like to keep it real. That's why I am keeping it real, but I'm putting it into perspective. I'm putting it into context. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to keep it objective than subjective. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like there has to be a paper trail. I feel like nowadays everybody's doing a YouTube, everybody's doing a podcast,
TikTok.
and I'm like, okay, but do you have your, like, for example, my next move now, oh my God, I'm gonna say this here. You hearing it here first. I am thinking about publishing a book of different types of witches.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes,
And
yes,
if you would
do it.
like, I would love if you could co-write with me.
I would
Yes.
love to. Oh my
Yes.
God.
Yes, 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 yes. And there's a lot of things, because if you saw my Instagram, have you noticed that I've been putting up like different drawings and shit, like different witches?
I
Like
have.
those were
I
my
have.
illustration ideas.
And they're so cute because you've been having different ones like fire witches, and I'm just like, ooh, and like you have like the aesthetic of like the style, and I'm like,
But I didn't put everything. Notice it's just the girl, not the background or anything like that, because I noticed that nowadays a lot of people are now talking about the different types of witches, and I want that conversation to be had. However, I
yes,
can't put my whole idea up there because I just put that idea out, and I'm beginning to see a pattern. You know what I'm saying? I'm beginning to see that shit pop up everywhere. Like, can you imagine if I put the whole picture 100%
right.
with all the shading and highlighting? And I feel like that idea would be taken. So
You
I'm
have to
just like
protect
thinking
your ideas.
so I'm thinking about trademarks. I'm thinking about a lot, but that is what I want to do next. I want to start having things that are written. I want to start having things that people can refer to in text, because I feel like a lot of the times people are so caught up in the social media bullshit that they forget that, oh, I'm putting more shit on social media than I am on my own website. I'm flexing more on social media than I am on my checkout page, because I have no fucking description on my checkout page in regards to like the item in the description, whatever. But my social media page is popping, and I'm just like, again, originality, technique, who's really there for like the long run and to try to
The
master this shit
longevity,
versus. So that's what I'm saying.
longevity.
It's a time for new beginnings, and I get that, and everybody has a new beginning. However, everybody has a new beginning, but how long is it going to last? Are you really going to commit to that new beginning, or are you going to get in the middle of your own success?
Yep. And this is a really good season to think about that because you mentioned the new moon in Scorpio. We are in
Mm-hmm.
Scorpio season, and we're in the last week right now that we're recording. Like the way that I've been working is, and this is where I have to like figure out my own technique. I was actually talking to somebody about editing sound, and I was explaining my process to edit. And I like to get different opinions from different people in the industry or who do that. And
You know how many
he,
people don't want to do that? Just
no,
fucking
oh no, no, no,
close
no, no,
you.
no, 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 no. Anytime I connect with somebody, I usually ask for advice or I even offer. I like that even exchange because those are where you get the nuggets of wisdom, and they don't have to tell you that. They don't have to tell you that. They're offering to tell you that. They're opening themselves up to tell you that, so you listen. And so
Right.
there was a person who was giving me some advice, and they were like, I was telling them that sometimes I take out the ums. He was like, "You're going in deep. Sometimes you have to let that go." And I was like, but I was like, they're right because I end up taking more time than I need to, and then things don't ever come out. I've been doing like a lot of rethinking, and with the new moon being the last week of Scorpio, I was like, you know what? We're going to record during this time, but it will come out when it comes out. But I think that this is a good time, and with Pluto and Capricorn, to really think about how you build, what you're building for, how you want to sustain that. Like
Let me
just
add
thinking
something.
beyond the now. Mm-hmm.
I like that advice because I expect people to give that type of advice, like, let it go. And the thing is, yes, we shouldn't really be cutting that out, even though it sounds better. It's kind of like we shouldn't even be saying it in the first place. And now let's strive to not say the ers and the ums. And that just begins to mold you and discipline you. So by the time shit starts, it's kind of like we don't even have to edit anything. We're just like this. Like the shit is clockwork because we've been practicing our diction, our articulation, our enunciation, our projection. I know what we're saying, how we sing, who we sing it with, who's invited. Like, so again, remember to don't be hard on yourself, but if somebody compliments you, like take it with a little grain of salt, just a little bit. Like, yeah, I can cut out the ers and the ums, but now let's work on not even having to work on that in the first place.
I love that you say that. I love that you say that because I actually was thinking that saying but I'm tying into astrology in regards to Saturn. So the planet Saturn. And it's making its, transit through Capricorn, but it's going to be moving into Aquarius very soon. And for me, I'll be having an Aquarius return. I think for you as well. So for me, it's actually been transiting through my third house, which has to do with communication, which has to do with working hard on communication and learning to organize your thoughts. So I actually have been thinking about that because I want that to reflect when I'm speaking. Instead of saying ums and ers, really just stop and think, say my thought, have it organized, have it ready.
A professional always says it's never done because you can always make it better. You can always make that show. For example, a lot of people could rap, a lot of people could sing. One thing that I learned in LaGuardia, I was never a vocal major. However, somebody pointed out to me, when you hear people sing, like you always hear like they're breathing in to say the next word of the next bar. If you're Beyonce or a professional, you don't hear that.
And there are times when it's like, how do you not hear certain people? Or in certain records, is that meant to be put in there? Is it stylistic for some people? It's because I was listening to an FKA Twig song and like she had it in there, but the way that she would breathe in, it sounded like it was put in there purposefully for her style though.
Sometimes it is.
But I feel like I'm remembering other songs though that probably wasn't stylistic, and I didn't know that.
It's more difficult to hear it in rap songs because they're talking. So when people are talking, they're breathing in and out as they're talking. However, you can hear the and it's like, no, I'm not supposed to hear the part. When you breathe, it's supposed to be breathing from your diaphragm, which is right underneath your rib cage, not from your shoulders,
chest.
Not from the chest. You can tell before they even sing, just looking at them breathing, you can tell. That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of people that can sing. Not saying that you cannot sing, not saying you can't sing, but you're not trained. Exactly.
We're talking about. Are you trained?
Now, if you want to enter competition, can you do both? Remember that helix, that what you were talking about, that bifactorial, weaving those two elements together. So that's where I'm at with the new moon, and I'm so happy that you said that you're thinking about that, and I'm happy that you're bringing it up in different scenarios. The new moon in Scorpio just passed. It was this Sunday, and did you do anything this Sunday to celebrate the new moon?
I did. You and I had a conversation. I don't say what it was about, but it was a situation that had happened to me and I needed some perspective. That for me was a way that I celebrated because that new moon, like I was looking at my chart, my birth chart. It was exactly hitting my Pluto in my first house. So like I knew ahead of time, I was like, okay, you're gonna be seeing a different perspective, or there's something about you that's just going to change, whether it's your looks or your outlook on something. And what I had actually decided to do before the new moon, I'm still in the process of doing it, sort of still doing the ritual, deep cleaning, because I'm sort of throwing out the old. Something told me, I was like, you need to deep clean, you need to deep clean, you need to throw everything that's old that you don't need, donate clothes, clean under your bed, reorganize, have like a special kind of water that I made with like cleansing stuff, like oils and stuff. Like I literally just made it right now. It hasn't just been that day, but it's been kind of a couple of days that I've been doing it. Because so as I cleanse my space, I'm sort of cleansing myself and sort of letting go of what I don't need anymore. That's how I've been celebrating. I mean, also, we smoke a little bit of weed. Just a little bit as well. I mean, it's my birthday week, so I was like, you know what, let me just.
They're legalizing that shit in Jersey now.
I was almost like, should I move to Jersey?
Right? Did you know that if you live in Jersey but work in the city, you pay even more taxes?
Oh.
I know. I know.
We
And I
don't
was
need
like,
that.
oh, maybe move to Jersey because it's cheaper. You get more land, but fuck that for tax season. You're not taking
You get screwed either way in the tri-state area, especially in New York City. Like either way. It's just been. I'm concerned about this winter because now Cuomo said that bars and restaurants close at 10, so the subways are already shut down, which is unprecedented for us. Subways were
Mhm.
open 24/7,
What's gonna
24/7.
happen New Year's Eve?
It was canceled. So it's just like people are not gonna do the get together. Girl, they're not gonna have people get together.
I'm just thinking, like,
All
are they
those
gonna stop the
people.
ball dropping? Are they gonna still record it?
Oh,
But
I
then
don't
how are you gonna
know.
prevent people
I
from
don't know.
coming to Times Square? And I'm thinking there's probably gonna be some dickheads. Like, I want to go to Times Square to the fucking bus drop. Never seen the shit before. Fucking up for the rest of us. But
Honestly,
wishful
because I was
thinking.
like, okay. I was like, I get why this is happening. I get it. I've been staying indoors. It's very rare that I've been going out. I've been staying
Mm,
indoors. I haven't really been having a social life like I want,
mm.
and I'm okay with that for this for a reason. But I'm just like, there's only so much we can take.
How do I say this?
You just have to be careful. Like the way that I have been doing it is like I have my very close circle of friends. Based on our conversations, I have an idea of how they've been socializing. If they work, do they, wear a mask? How do they wear it? If they don't
Yes.
work, have they been around other people? Or, are they dating and like seeing other people? Just even things like that where I could just be like, okay, this person hasn't really been out. They haven't shown symptoms. And then even if I go see somebody, I try to space out my time just to see if God forbid, I have any symptoms. We live in a society where not everyone has access to healthcare, free testing
Or
without much
efficient
barriers
enough.
or efficient. So it's just that you have to be realistic and you also have to be practical,
Yeah.
smart, and responsible. And for me, I tell everybody this, but my mother's passing, I have so much responsibilities now that it's like I cannot be selfish. I cannot afford to get sick and I cannot be selfish and think about just myself and what I want to do. Because the way that I'm set up right now, I have responsibilities. I
It's
try
a
to monitor.
lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot. Vondechii, any last thoughts just for now?
Respect the Scorpio is the season of the Scorpio. And new beginnings are not always love and light and happiness. It can be, a little bit dark Lilith as well.
What I want to offer, because I started this podcast talking about the ascension process. Some people think that ascension just means a smooth ride upwards or a smooth ride forward. And sometimes you have to just realize that ascension can also mean integrating the dark parts, really understanding the gems and the light when moments are dark. Sometimes you take 2 steps back, but you take 1 step forward. That's still ascension. So I want to offer that. So that is our episode for now. And so for now, that's what we have for you guys. We hope you enjoy this
Woo!
episode. Bye.
Bye.